As everybody comes in, we're going to try something backwards today. Literally, I'm going to do the sequence from the back half to the front half. So we're starting in Shavasana. I want you to lie down onto your mat. If you don't prefer to lie down, have a seat instead. Again, lie back or sit up. Take a moment to soften your gaze or close the eyes. Do so not to drop away, but to come in tune with yourself. So notice what parts of the body are touching the ground. How does that change as you inhale and exhale? Feel the air as it drifts across the body. Just really coming into tune with yourself this time for practice. Perhaps labeling one or two words that are greeting you here. Like, what are you walking into the practice with? And if that's different from what you want out of this practice, then labeling that as well. And stretch the arms overhead now. Bring the feet closer together if you're lying all the way back, and just stretch, stretch, stretch. Pull your knees into your chest. Give them a good tight squeeze into the chest. Lift your head and shoulders off of the mat and see if you can't get an even tighter grip around your legs. Try to keep that tighter grip and lay the head and shoulders back down. And then take the arms out to a T shape and lie both legs over to the right side in a supine twist. Take the knees across the center and on over to the left side. And then back to the middle. Point your feet straight up into the air. Okay, this takes some momentum. Give yourself a little bit of a rock. Try to lift your butt off of the ground a couple of times. And then keep yourself lifted and try to hold on towards your ankles so you're in an upside down forward fold. Do your best to keep hold of your ankles, but let your mid to low back come a little closer to the mat. I think this pose is hard at all times. It's certainly hard first thing in the morning. Give yourself a break with it. Bend the knees or do something a little bit different. And then slowly roll back down. Set the soles of both of your feet to the yoga mat. Reach your hands down to try to brush close to your heels. And push through your feet, shoulders, head. Lift your hips up for bridge pose. Here in bridge pose, bend at your elbows so that you're pushing your upper arm bones into your yoga mat, kind of making like bookends of hands around the belly. And try to lift, lift, lift through the hips. Push the big toes down. A lot of times we like to roll to the outer edge of our feet. Try to push the big toes down to keep your knees a little happier in this pose. And then exhale, lower down, hips to the ground. Cross the right ankle over the left thigh. Point the knee out to the side and pull the left leg in. Thread your arms to hold underneath your left thigh or on top of the left shin. Give it a couple of breaths. So again, today we're starting with our supine poses that we often see at the very end of class. We'll move into a couple of seated postures and build up to standing. Take the left leg over and pull the right knee in. And just as a little experiment, like what happens and how does the progress of the practice and just this time on the mat feel when we sort of switch up what we do, the order that we do things. Maybe some of it works. Both feet back onto the yoga mat. One more bridge pose just for the road here. Press down through the feet, shoulders, head, lift the hips up. You can take those same bookends of hands or interlace the hands underneath the back and roll the shoulders more up and in. If this gives you strain in the knees or low back, do try turning the feet out slightly. Turn the knees out slightly. See if that helps. And then release it all the way down. And this time, rock yourself up to a seated position. Stretch your legs straight out in front of you. Flex the feet. Point the toes straight up to the sky. Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, forward fold, reach towards your feet. And let the hands actually hold the feet or lay them down to either edge of the mat. If this is finding a little pull in the hamstrings or low back, bend your knees some and see if you can take that out. So seated forward fold is Paschimottanasana. I like to hold the outer edges of the feet and kind of pull them back towards me. And at the same time, I'm pushing the feet into the hands. You'll notice a pretty steady calf stretch if you're doing that. And inhale, come back upright. Take your hands about a foot behind you. Bend the knees, so soles of the feet onto the ground. Tabletop pose. Press down into your hands and feet. Lift your hips. Tuck the chin so that you're looking down the line of your body. And try to keep lifting your hips up, up, up. Push through your thumbs and see if you find a bigger stretch into the shoulder as you do so. Exhale, lower the hips back down. Do either that exact same thing or more challenge, try taking your legs straight and lifting from there. If the legs are straight, you can flex the feet, toes straight up to the sky, or still more challenge, stretch through the top of the feet to try to get your toes back down onto your mat. Wherever you are, squeeze your butt a lot. And then everybody lower back down. Swing your feet behind you so that you can sit on your feet. And take a little twist to the right. Inhale, come across your center and twist to the left. Good. Come back to the middle. Child's pose. Bow the torso over. Reach your arms out in front of you. This might feel like a little more traditional start, sort of bowing in, taking a moment. Okay, friends, downward facing dog. Here in down dog, pedal out your feet, shake your head a little bit. Move the hips, do all the things that help to open this first down dog for you. You can play with the length of the feet, a little shorter, a little longer. Do look forward for a moment. Make sure the hands are about outer shoulder distance apart, all 10 fingers wide. Grip the earth underneath the finger pads. And then from that foundation, let the head relax again. And give it a few more breaths here in downward facing dog. And then with this gathered strength right into side plank. So balance on your right hand, outer edge of the right foot. Step the left foot forward and send the left arm up to the sky for side plank. Work in this version of side plank, or stack your feet and work there. Or lift your left leg up and work there. Different options, no one better than the next. Go back to downward facing dog. Balance on the left hand, the outer edge of the left foot. Step the right foot forward. So you start with the stability of both feet on the ground. Stay with that, or stack the feet. Yes, it's a more challenging pose in terms of balance and stability, but is it better or worse for you? Maybe right leg up. And then again, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward to plank. And then lie flat down onto your yoga mat. Reach your hands back behind you. Turn the palms to face up to the sky. Inhale, lift everything that you can up. And this belly down back bend, squeeze the heels in towards each other. They don't have to touch, but give them the strength, the energetic quality of hugging in towards the middle for stabilizing you. And then lower it all the way down and push again back to child's pose. In child's pose, walk both hands over to the right side a little bit. Walk the hands across the center, walk them over to the left side. Good, back to the middle. Come up to all fours. Do cat and cow here. Let the spine change directions. On your inhale, pull the chest forward, eyes and tailbone to the sky. On your exhale, round the back, press down through the hands and knees. Keep going with your breath. A few rounds like this. On your next inhale, come to a neutral spine and swing your right foot to the front of the mat. Feel free to use a yoga block to the inside of the foot if you'd like a little more ease and height, and then bring the back knee up. So low lunge, hands to the inside of the foot. Use some extra height if you'd like. Inhale, make the legs straighter, and then exhale and bend. Just kind of dynamic movement here, back and forth like this. Similar to what we do in cat and cow to warm up the spine, we're just taking the movement here to keep finding opening. Warm up through legs, hips. And then keep the right knee bent into your low lunge. Make the back leg even stronger. Engage the quad and engage the glute. And go down towards your forearms. So the legs stay just as strong and active. We'll try to descend through the upper body a little bit. And the tendency is to drop the head and look back at the left leg here. Try looking forward still so you get the longest length possible. Forearm lunge. Walk it back up to your hands. Everyone lower your back knee to the ground. Take both hands to your front thigh. And the hips can continue to descend a little bit down and forward, but not so much that it is at the expense of space in the low back. So often here I come out of the pose a couple of inches first. Try to get stronger towards the midline. Stretch the arms up so I get all of the length possible. And then keeping all that I found, then go a little bit more further down and forward. Anjaneyasana. And lower the hands. They can find your yoga block. Come back up to your low lunge. Take the right hand high, so twisted or revolved lunge. We do this at the beginning of practice most days. Okay, lower the right hand down. Shift it back to all fours. Let's give that series a go on the second side. Swing the left foot forward. Take your time, find your low lunge. Give yourself some height as you wish. Okay, once you're set, straighten and bend, straighten and bend. So front leg as straight as it'll go, and then into a nice deep bend. Back and forth. And then settle into the low lunge, knee right over the line of the ankle. So you can kind of map a straight line down as much as possible, kind of a 90-degree angle from hip to knee down to our ankle. We try to keep that and go lower down towards the forearms. Now, if you're not using a yoga block and the forearms are too far down to the ground, just go to flat palms, like bend the elbows a little bit. So it's almost like a hovering chaturanga in the arms and upper body. And then come back up to the hands, lower the back knee. Remember my trick, if you come out of it just a moment, set the upper body, get your length, and then gravity helps. It's on your side with the legs. Send the hips a little down and forward. Back off the legs, release the arms, pick up the back knee, And add that one last twist, left arm to the sky. That one feels too high for me on the block, so I can actually get a little bit more room in the bottom shoulder without it. Make sure to try what works for you. Okay, let's all go back to downward facing dog. And then from down dog, walk your feet a little bit forward, your hands a little bit back, so we end up in a forward fold in the center of our yoga mat. From here, think ragdoll pose. Relax the knees. Relax the upper body. Like a ragdoll, just hang over. Maybe hold on to the elbows and sway a little bit. And then make all 10 fingers touch the ground. They could again be elevated underneath some height here as you wish. But I'm going to keep my fingertips on the ground here. And give about half of your weight to your hands. So lean a little bit forward. That should make it easier for us to lengthen from the hips out to the head, like a half lift here. And lift your left leg up and back behind you. And then can you take both of your hands to your hips? Hold the side of your hips and literally try to squeeze them in more towards each other. Point the back toes so you stay engaged the entire way through. Tone in the abdomen and stretch your arms straight out to the front. Bring your hands back in. Can they reach down to the ground? Bend your right knee enough to make that happen. And then keep the left hand down, but lift the right hand up so you're in revolved half moon. Lower the right hand down, lower the left leg down. Ragdoll pose. And then slowly roll on up to standing. Roll the shoulders up and back a couple of times. And forward and down. Okay, we're taking the second side from standing. Lift the arms up. Exhale, bend the knees. Tap the right foot back behind you. Like a pendulum, take the arms and torso down as you lift the leg up. For warrior 3. Revolved half moon, right hand down, left arm to the sky. Can you go back to warrior 3, untwist, arms out to the front, and slowly, mine not so slowly, stand up. Balance is hard. Chair pose, both arms stay up, torso as vertical as possible, bend the knees, sit into the thighs. Chair pose, Utkatasana. Bring the palms together, take the left elbow to the right side and a twist. And the elbow can stay lifted far away from the thigh, or close it all the way down to the outside of the thigh. Again, not one better than the other, just what's working for you in this moment. Sort of taking in December mantra. Come back across the center and go to the other side. December's mantra. Sit, stay, heal. Noticing what's working in the present moment. And then come back across the center, stand all the way up, arms to the sky. Big reach. Kick your right heel to your seat. Hold on to your right foot in a quad stretch. This other hand can be holding on to something out to the side. It's just where you best balance. And then kick your back leg, your right leg, to the back. Spread your toes a little bit so you kind of feel that flex in the hand. Big arch, big back bend. Bring it back in. Set the right foot down to the ground. Kick the left heel toward your seat. Squeeze the knees and thighs in towards each other. Right arm up to the sky. Or out to the side on the hip. Again, find support in that right arm. Notice what's happening in your standing leg. Make it as firm as possible. Lift up on the kneecap, tone the quad. Squeeze the glute. And then kick the left heel back away from you. And bring it all back in, 2 feet to the ground, both arms to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Take it to downward facing dog, hands out in front, feet back behind you. Inhale, come forward to plank pose. Lie flat down onto your belly. Bend both knees. Your knees can splay, but have the inner edges of your feet touch. Yeah? Keep your thighs on the ground. Make your arms straight. So like an up push-up. Straighten the arms, lift the chest, lift the belly. We're quite a bit off of the ground here. Keep squeezing the feet together. Squeeze the glutes. And slowly let the hips go a little down and forward like you do in cobra, like you do in upward facing dog. And then look straight ahead or even up. This is our prep pose for king pigeon. And it's about as far as I get in king pigeon. Lower it all the way down. You probably can't tell, but the little poster that you see with little squares on my wall is one of my teachers, Darren Rhodes, and all of the poses. And that king pigeon pose, his head is leaned all the way back to touch his toes. My body doesn't do that. I don't strive to do that. It's just fun to play in the poses. Come sit upright, have the knees together, and it's cool to see that it happens in some bodies. Take a little twist to the right, and take a twist to the left. Back to the center, come through all fours, cat and cow. All right, downward facing dog. Bring the right knee behind your right wrist. So this is another pigeon prep pose. We usually call this one pigeon. Heel in towards the left hip. Walk your left leg back and come down towards your forearms. Just like before, if you like some height under the forearms, slide a block, your books. Hands work just the same to keep you more lifted as well. Okay, everybody walk back up to the fingertips. I'm going to keep my hands out in front, about in line with my knee. Squeeze the glutes so that I actually lift up higher away from the mat. Imagine how your legs were in that king pigeon prep that we worked with. You're going to bend the knee and pull the heel in towards the midline of the body. Either staying and working there, or arms can go up to the sky. Remember, our head going back to our toes is just laughable to me, but that's the work here. It's like a back bend, up and back. Hands can come all the way back down, foot comes down, downward facing dog. And pedal out the feet. Take the left knee behind the left wrist, heel towards the right side. Walk the right leg back. And first fold forward down to the forearms. This is the pigeon variation that most folks take some comfort in. And then if you like the opening, the challenge, the experience of back bends, this one's going to be more in your favor. We come back up to the fingertips. Again, most of my weight is still a little forward here. I'm going to use that to make it easier to add the quad stretch, back heel in towards the seat. And instead of holding on to the back foot, to engage the quad stretch more, as we sometimes do, I'm going to try to use this as a strengthening pose. Can you take your hands to your waist? If that works, can you take your arms up to the sky? All the while balancing in the legs, maybe even looking a little bit up and back. Squeeze the inner thighs, adductors, in towards each other. And then lower the hands, walk it all back, find downward facing dog. Bend your knees and walk your hands backwards, backwards, backwards. Take the hands to the hips, point your elbows up to the sky, push down into your feet, and come all the way up to standing. Okay, I'm going to stand in the center of the mat here. Try right ankle over your left thigh. So it's a tree pose, but we've crossed it further over. Yeah? I like to do arms out in front for balance and then sit like you're in chair pose. We did some of these last week. And really press your butt as far back as you can. Lean your torso as far down and forward as you can. And then keep going. Can you touch your fingertips to the ground? With your fingertips to the ground, take your concentration to your left leg. That should be your standing foot. Can you go deeper into a squat? Lift your heel up and send your butt lower towards your heel. Try it a couple of times, just getting some mobility in there. And then if it works, heel can stay lifted. Wrap your foot around your upper left arm bone and lean your weight into the shelf of your hands. Keep going, see what happens. Maybe pick your left foot all the way up. Maybe shoot it back behind you. And then everyone find chair pose. Find your upright figure four and stand on two legs. I'm breaking all of this down a lot more in the 75-minute class that will be Wednesday at 9. Let's try it on the second side. Left ankle over. Add your chair pose to it. Take the hands down, keep sitting lower. If you're really slowing all of this down, one of my variations is hands literally on the seat of a chair as they start to find their way a little lower. Big hip opener. Try hands flat. Try lifting the back heel up, the right heel up here. Hovering a little more weight forward. Keep going. Try all the variations that work for you. Maybe picking up that right heel and shooting it back. And then slowly walk your way back into your chair pose. Your upright figure 4 and 2 feet on the ground. When you get 2 feet on the ground, come to stand at the top of your mat. Reach your arms up to the sky, probably happy that that's not happening anymore. Hooray! And then exhale, forward fold. Keep the right foot forward, step your left foot back into your low lunge. And then shorten your stride about a foot. Pull the left foot closer in. Spin the back heel down, 2 flat feet. Take your hands to your waist so you get a whole lot more room. Lift the torso at least halfway up. Press down and out through your feet so you find a good stretch in your hamstrings and in that back calf in particular. And start to forward fold again, holding balance and stability in the core as you do so. So hands staying at our waist. Drop the hands, re-bend the front knee for your full low lunge stride. And then take both hands to the inside edge of your foot. Spin the back heel down. Side angle pose, reach the left arm long overhead, pop the right elbow up to the knee. For the second side, come upright here through Warrior 2. Stretch the front leg straight, turn your feet. We're going Warrior 2 on the second side. Then elbow to knee, reach the top arm long overhead to the back. And then low lunge, frame your back foot now. Take a little shorter stride. Make both feet as straight as possible as you press your back heel into the ground, both hands to the waist. So the steadiness first, the stretch second for Parsvottanasana, pyramid pose. Release the hands down, find your low lunge again, rebend the front knee. Both hands to the inside, spin the back heel down. Staying on this side, open it up for triangle pose, top arm to the sky, open across the hips and shoulders. Bottom hand can prop higher up on the shin for more ease in opening through hips, shoulders. Inhale, come all the way upright. Switch your feet so they're back to your original direction. Hinge from the hips. Lower the right hand down, the left arm up for triangle pose. Lower the top arm, low lunge. Step it all the way back, downward facing dog. No more movement. Stay here. Child's pose. Drop the knees. Sit back. Come to a cross-legged seat. Cross your feet underneath the knees. Take the hands, palms down or palms up along the legs. Sit well through the spine. Allow your gaze to be low or close the eyes. No judgment, just take notice. Those same scans that we did at the beginning. Is there one or two words that you can say to yourself that describe how you feel now? Sometimes I find it hard to pinpoint that feeling. And so you can take it more specific. How does the breath feel? How does your back feel? From those outer physical sensory noticings, keep drawing in. Again, without judgment, allow all of those words that popped up, the couple of words, the many words, whatever it was for you, let them inform your day. Bring the palms together, the thumbs to the sternum. This is Anjali Mudra. It's an intention or gesture of intention. And our next intention is to close this time and open to the next. I do that through the sound of Om. You're welcome to sing along, to listen, or to tune it out. Empty out your breath here. And then deep breath in. Namaste.